Hello and welcome, I'm SimUK. The developers at Lab 42 certainly do have snooker pedigree, with all the lead designers having worked on previous snooker titles like Codemasters World Snooker Championship Series. Personally, I've been a big fan of snooker since the early 80s, with Steve Interesting Davis, Alex the Hurricane Higgins, and Jimmy the Whirlwind White, just to name a few. Snooker has really taken off recently in a big way in China, and Snooker 19 aims to capitalise upon this boom. Certainly all the major European and Asian players and events are here, as this is a fully licensed title. So for those of you in a rush or with very short attention spans, this is the quick review. Snooker 19 is something of a mixed bag in terms of content and quality. The existing snooker world champion Mark Williams is not actually on the cover, but he is in the game, as are all of the big players in this fully licensed title, each of which have been digitally captured, so they're a fair representation of each of the players. The level of realism and the ease of which I became immersed in this game is extremely high, and I can easily say it makes this my current favourite snooker title by quite a long way. I'd say the physics appear to be really good, and the AI are both realistic and challenging. On the most part, I really liked both the TV camera style and the commentary. The career option definitely needs more fleshing out, as you can only currently play as an existing pro, and graphically, for the PC at least, the game does need some refining. Perhaps more graphical options like super sampling might help in this regard. Overall, this is a very, very immersive experience and very realistic too, and therefore it's a lot of fun to play. At this price though, it just needs some additional content, some graphical improvements and enhanced features. Really, they do need to materialise soon, as I feel that the price tag justifies more than it's currently giving. If you're interested in a more immersive, more in-depth review, then continue watching. Otherwise, thank you, and please hit that like button if you enjoyed this review. So as mentioned already, Snooker 19 is an incredibly immersive and realistic gameplay experience. That's despite all of the failings. This is a great game to play. I really do like the TV camera approach. I love the reverse shot. It looks so good, especially with the long focus change on the camera. Sometimes it's so good I sit there and I wait for my player to play his shot rather than taking the shot myself. Occasionally though, the camera angle actually blocks the play, which is quite annoying. I don't know what the solution is here, but it definitely needs looking at.
18.
And there's no overhead camera at all, which I don't really mind, as I find it is quite unrealistic. But the ability to move around the table is absolutely essential, especially when having to select a colour to play and you can't even assess the shot. This is quite an issue. Also, the green could be a lot greener.
He's played that very well. Hello, welcome to this exhibition match at the home of snooker, the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The first frame, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
More could be done overall with the camera, in my humble opinion. Seeing your opponent sat down after missing a shot, they could introduce some real player mannerisms here.
Tricky pot coming up.
That's a top shot. Well played.
Superb cue ball control there. Ideal position.
15.
So good are the physics in this game that you will get to watch some great snooker playing, especially against the AI on their hardest settings. I found that having the AI on hardest and the aiming assists on easiest offered up a great challenge for me. Over time, as I get used to the game, I would be looking to reduce the aim assistance, and that will enhance the challenge. You can also remove it completely, but this is really for the clinically insane. The game options include quick play, online play and career mode, and there are 3 game styles available: full snooker, 6-ball and shootout. Shootout, if you're not familiar with it, is a time-limited fast-paced snooker experience. I had one crack at this right at the beginning, but I found the controls a little bit too tricky in order to get shots off within the time limit.
Time foul. Mark Selby 5. Ball in hand.
The game does offer a career, but unfortunately there is no option to create your own character. You instead have to pick an existing pro. This for me is a major failure for a game with a £30 price tag. I hope this will be resolved. The AI do play realistically.
24.
It takes them a little while to think about their shot, but for very good reason. This is the best AI I have ever seen in a snooker title. Any mistake made by you will be absolutely capitalised upon by the AI.
Not an easy one, but a half chance. And he's missed it.
That being said, the AI will also make mistakes, allowing you an opportunity to take a game. And it seems to me that they get better as you progress to the harder opponents. The ability to adjust shot assistance and AI really does make for a great challenge and a good balanced play, and a lot of fun overall. I've mentioned the physics a couple of times already, and I have to say I really am very impressed. The game of snooker requires high levels of control, and Snooker 19 has this in abundance. I had some fantastic snooker-to-snooker moments against the AI, a real feast for snooker tacticians. The AI also can and will choose to play safety shots against you, and I've got to say, they're pretty flipping good. Overall, I am super impressed with the physics and the AI. Unfortunately, in Snooker 19, there seems to be no replay option at all. Not from the game's perspective or from your own.
He doesn't want to play this with too much pace.
So figuring out what went wrong can be a little bit tricky.
That's an excellent shot.
All of the rules within snooker have been applied correctly, and the commentary does a good job of commentating. One issue I did encounter was when a touching ball, which in snooker terms you're allowed to play away and you don't have to hit another ball at all, the commentator misinterpreted it completely and said, "I'm not sure what happened there." That being said, the commentators are exceptionally good. For example, if you are lining up a plant shot, then the commentator will acknowledge this, and even the AI will have a go at plant shots if they think they can manage it too, and the commentators pretty accurately tend to notice this.
I think he's seen a plant.
It would be great if we had the option also to save games and then be able to watch them from the spectator's perspective. Again, I suspect this is something that's very unlikely to happen.
Justice Brown required now.
For a PC snooker experience, I've got to say that graphically this is not brilliant. I've noticed issues with the balls and the cues, which have seriously jagged edges at times, especially when you're moving the camera around. Some of the lighting is also quite questionable, and this is probably most prominent within the cutscenes. I've seen many clipping issues with the cue, the rest, and even the players actually falling through the table. But this is early release and bugs like this should be resolved pretty quickly. The characters do look quite like their counterparts, you can certainly tell them apart, but movement is certainly not smooth, and they look clinically insane at times. Their eyes especially, I find, look incredibly odd. It's a shame that they don't walk around the table. That would be a fantastic thing to see, but with their janky movements, I think this would probably detract from the game even more. So instead, we have this rather annoying transition between every single shot. I'm really not a fan of this, but I have to say that I did get used to it eventually, to the point where I barely noticed it was there. That's not going to be the same for everybody. So far as I can see, all of the big venues, and certainly the main ones, are here and have been modelled realistically. It's fair to say that each venue design is a little bit modest, with only a single table per location. but it does give the right sense of occasion and that added sense of atmosphere. One area in Snooker 19 that I hugely admire and really appreciate is the build-up of chalk and cue lines on the table. This looks absolutely fantastic, and it really shows off a long fought-out battle. Brilliant! Unfortunately, chalking your cue is not a feature, so you will never get that missed cue issue if you forget to do it.
Pop this into the right corner.
On the most part, Snooker 19's audio is very good. The ball sounds are authentic, but heavier shots seem to be a little bit lackluster. Crowd sounds are also realistic, although I would like to hear some oohs and some ahs, but overall it's okay. You do have the traditional cough and a few chair creaks. That was a chair creak, by the way. But much more could and perhaps should be done at this price range. I'm not sure that the number of people watching, the number of spectators actually modelled in the game, matches the audio. The audio seems to be a constant and it doesn't fluctuate at all based on how many people are watching. Is this a bug or is it a missing feature / opportunity? I honestly don't know at this point. I have to give kudos for the commentary. It is very good. I did see one bug where a shot was played which was called in off when it clearly wasn't. The commentary is also not always perfect for what has just happened, but it is pretty darned close to being perfect. I noticed the occasional repetition, but for the most part I found the commentary to be really, really excellent.
35. Frame and match Elliot Slesser.
And he's through.
I also noticed a few minor crowd audio bugs, mostly at the end of the game, where for some reason the audio turned into a 1980s flight sim afterburner audio sound.
Nicely done.
And that should be it. Past the point of no return in this match.
9.
The personal complaint I have is that sometimes the commentary is very loud, and this tends to be just as you're taking your shot.
He'll be playing safe here.
I genuinely don't mind them speaking, but I think at that moment in time, a softer volume would certainly be a solution. The in-game music is barely worth mentioning. It's okay, but I elected to turn it off.
He'll be aware how important pace is for this shot.
The game's setup and configuration is pretty darn limited, I have to say. The button setup and configuration is a little bit different than what I would consider to be the norm, in quotes. Still, it's fairly quick and easy to get yourself up and running. There is a tutorial which you'll enter right at the very beginning, and at best it's brief. It also seems to be a little bit buggy at the moment, returning back to the same menu option, and it was very limited. It didn't even appear to show what button allows you to go back a step, which, by the way, is the backspace button. I would have to say that the game is heavily geared towards console players rather than PC players, but it works well enough with the keyboard and mouse. My only irritations are that menus need to be advanced using the return key, and you cannot use the left click on the mouse at all.
That's a great split. He'll be unlucky if he's not on anything here.
9.
You can also not adjust key binds, nor can you, well, at least I couldn't find any way to invert the y-axis, which I felt was the wrong way round. Some issues with spin application and camera movement. Spin is not always recognised, but I do have to say that I have a bit of a dodgy right-click mouse button, so it might just be that. But again, this then falls back on the importance of having the ability to change key binds.
Looking to play this softly.
So my final thoughts for this game. Graphically, this game is lacking in some places, especially for those on PC. Better graphical customization might be the solution here, perhaps a bit of super sampling, for example. The career needs to have own player creation. At this price tag, this is a terrible omission of a very important feature. And there are a few minor bugs and issues which can be resolved over time. This includes the players and the cues clipping the table, wrong commentary for the player you've just watched, and a few minor menu glitches. Something probably also needs to be done about the transition, perhaps an option to minimize or stop or change the color of the transitions, perhaps have the option to fade it to black instead. In a perfect world, we would see the players walking around the table, but I really don't see that ever going to happen. There are no trick shots, there are no practice areas, which again is a big shame at this price tag. This could have, in fact should have, been included. There are a lot of practice setups that could really help improve your game, especially when you're trying to perfect your tactical positioning. I would also really love to have some of the old pros in the game. This might not be possible from a legal perspective, but how much would you like to play against the Hurricane Higgins? Despite all of the issues and my misgivings, this really is the most authentic, realistic and immersive, and I do mean immersive, snooker game since Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker. I am absolutely hooked. This game is absolutely brilliant. It's very realistic and fully immersive. The only question is, do you feel the price tag justifies the content? I'll be very interested to hear what Lab 42 have to say, especially around the career aspects of this game. I think if they don't flesh that out, this game may suffer as a result. If you want to see more footage on this game, then please do make sure you come back and check Sim UK out, as we'll be having a career configured and set up so that you can enjoy 55. And really get a good idea of what a game of snooker is like in Snooker 19. My name's Mike, this is Sim UK, thank you for watching. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed this video and come back and see us next time. Goodbye for now.
He's going for the left corner pocket. That's a top shot.